Josh from Green Ops and Spotter. I'm going to do a short video on handgun grip, how I grip my pistols. This video is going to be geared a little bit more towards people who haven't had a lot of instruction, who aren't sure how to hold a handgun, but I think it will be of some interest to experienced shooters just to see how I do it and what I've learned. So first of all, my handgun grip is personalized to me. Everyone's body's different, but there are key principles that work across the board and will work for everybody. But small tweaks depending on just how you're built and how your body works, how your eyes work, will change things a little bit. Aside from just my own experience and learning as I go, and from a lot of shooting experience, I've learned handgun grip particulars and specifics and really critical lessons from guys like Scott Jedlinski, Modern Samurai Project, Steve Fisher, Sentinel Concepts, Tim Herron Performance Shooting, Mike Green from Green Ops, Mike Seeklander. Learned a lot about grip from watching those guys. Bob Vogel has some really good grip videos on the internet that you can go see how he grips his Glocks. So these guys have been crucial in helping me understand what's going on with the grip and how I can make it better. So handgun grip. From step one, you have the handgun gripped in your firing hand, right? It's a handgun, not a hands gun, so you can shoot them one-handed. So firing hand, strong hand grip. Obviously, you want your hands as high up on the gun as possible. So there's a beaver tail in the back here. You want your hands all the way up high on that, as high as possible, right? Obviously, my finger rides up along near the ejection port, not down here in the trigger guard or in the trigger guard or near it. I ride mine up high on the slide there. My thumb, if I'm shooting one-handed, it'll be pointed forward probably. Some people grip it down, some people put it up, whatever works for you is fine. My thumb's gonna get out of the way so that when I put my support hand on the gun, all right, my support hand will come in and make contact with the middle fingers of my other hand under the trigger guard. And then I'm gonna rotate this up, grind it in so that the meat of my palm here, all this meat, is what goes on this big open space on the frame. You want as much of your hand supporting the gun as possible, as high up as possible. So all the meat on my hand, I'm gonna grind it in there so it makes contact with my hand back here. You don't want a gap, right? Gap's generally not good. Some people's hands, you can't help it depending on the size, but you want to mainly just get as much meat on that gun as possible. My fingers on the support hand wrap around, right? And are crushing in. So you can see the blood rushing out of my fingers when I crush in, right? My pinky, right, is crushing hard. Present the gun to my eyes. So it's critical that your support hand is squeezing like a vice, all right? And the meat is pushing into the gun back here and as high as possible. So if you notice, my thumbs, yeah, they kind of point forward. Especially when I shoot, my thumbs tend to point forward, right? But my thumbs, I don't really need to do anything. They're just sitting up there. I actually don't want my thumbs to be exerting pressure downward on the gun or to the right on the gun. I want my thumbs to be passive, right? All the grip pressure is coming from the meat of my palms. You can see the pattern of the grip in my hands, okay? And in my fingertips, right? My thumbs aren't doing anything. So you can see that. So meat in my hands, fingertips, right? And this hand, firm enough, like a strong handshake, firm enough to hold the gun, but not so tight that I can't be dexterous with my trigger finger. This hand has to be firm, but relaxed enough that you can smoothly run the trigger, right? If you're too tense, you're trying to go too fast or too hard, right? That's when you get trigger freeze, because this finger kind of seizes up. It's too tense. You have to relax that finger a little bit, which means this hand has to be a little bit relaxed. Not loose, but relaxed. This hand, like a vice, right? Crushing it like a vice. And then just The gun's basically mounted between this vise that I've created, all right? And then I'm just running the trigger. Now in order to create the vise effectively, you can see the pressure from this meat of my hand. In order to create that vise effectively, this meat right here needs to be squeezing in between my fingers, my other hand, right? So really what I'm doing is I'm squeezing the edges of my palms together into the grip. Like this part, these parts of my hands are squeezing together and my fingers are crushing. My thumbs are just sitting up here and then I'm working the trigger. So you're basically just creating a mount for the gun to mount it securely, working the trigger and letting the slide just cycle, right? You're just creating a vise, a mount, and letting the gun just do its thing. And if you have a good vise, secure mount, when the gun cycles, the slide's gonna come to the rear, right? And then when it goes forward, the sight's just gonna go up a little bit and then drop right back down. Just up a little bit and then drop right back down. And that's how we shoot repeatedly rapid strings, because the sight's just rising and falling right in front of our eyes. The key aspect of this is your forearms. How are your forearms bent or straight or angled? One cool thing that Jedi does in his class that I like is he'll have us, and I've adopted this too for teaching people because it's good demonstration. You want strength on the gun. You want a lateral strength. You want to be able to have the ideal amount of strength in front of your eyes. So if you put your palms together and squeeze your palms together, right? Basically squeeze those together like I am, right? And then put them right up in your chest. You can really crush your hands together. And then as you move your hands away from your body, you can feel it lessening and lessening the amount of pressure. And then if you lock them all the way out, if you lock your elbows out, it's much harder to exert pressure between those palms, right? If you bring them back in, as soon as your elbows unlock, you can start feeling the pressure again. And then it gets stronger and stronger as you bring it close to your body. But shooting like this is weird and awkward. You can do it, but there's a sweet spot somewhere between here and here. There's a sweet spot for you. And that's where you present the gun and start and shoot. That's where you do your shooting. So for me, as I build my grip here and present out and I'm crushing the gun, my sweet spot's right about there. Right? Not here, not here. Mine's right about there. That's where the gun comes for me, where my head stays straight up, eyes in front, gun comes up to my eyes, and that's where I live. That's where I do my shooting, right? So, everyone's bodies work different, so experiment with that and find where your sweet spot is, right? Some people's elbows will bend down, some people's elbows will bend out more. That's kind of personal depending on how your body works. If you look at Frank Proctor, the way he shoots, his elbows are pretty much down like this, and that works for him. So mine flare out a little bit more. So yeah, so as you can see, all right, all the pressure in my hands are, all right, in my fingers, in the meat of my palms, right here. And that's Handgun Grip 101. So when I shoot, my thumbs tend to kind of bend down like this from habit because I've been doing it so long. My thumbs kind of just point straight along the frame, right? And it works. Ideally, my thumbs aren't exerting much pressure, all right? And my hand is a little bit higher on the gun, all right? That's what I want. The higher your hand on the gun, the better. No gap here for me, okay? Solid grip. And my thumbs are kind of passive, all right? Nice and high. That's what I want. So I'm still working on making my grip as good as I can. I still get tips from guys that I train with, from classes that I take, right? I went to Sentinel Concepts class, I went to a Modern Samurai class. They both gave me great tips on improving my grip even more. So always looking to make it as good as possible. Always a student, always getting better. But the key principle here is you're supporting the gun securely so that it's not moving, right? And as high as possible. So most people understand this concept, but when you shoot the gun, the slide cycles, comes to the rear, and that's what creates the recoil. The mass of this slide hitting the end of its length of travel, now you've got inertia that forces the gun to come back up in your hand, right? And that's what happens during recoil. And then as this goes forward, it comes back down. And your sights are rising, and then they're falling. So the higher you can hold up on this gun and the more securely you can hold it, as this comes back, the less it's gonna rise up, which means your sights are gonna move less and come back faster. So that's how you shoot fast and accurate. If your grip is unideal, it's not strong, or it's, you didn't quite get it where you needed it to, when this gun cycles, the gun's gonna rise a lot more, or it's even gonna jump and come off target. And now you've got longer to wait before your sights are back on target, or the sights don't come back on target at all, and now you've got to reorient and re-aim. So that's the key thing about having a proper grip. You can have a bad grip and make one perfectly accurate shot as long as you manipulate the trigger without disrupting the sights, right? That bullet will go exactly where you wanted it to. But then any follow-up shots are going to take longer because you weren't controlling the recoil. So hopefully that was a helpful video for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I tried to cover what I do when I'm teaching a new person, basically how to grip a handgun. So yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks.